Good morning and welcome. No surprise that we are starting today in our brand new space. The shelves are already empty of some glasses because this morning I'm doing pressure canning. I'm not doing a how-to video because what I'm going to do throughout this week is get a load of things pressure canned, because one of my goals that I want to achieve whilst I'm off work is to get the shelves filled up with lots of meals that you can just, meals in a jar that you can just tip into a pan and heat after a long weekend of working outside where you can't be bothered to cook. And then you think, oh, let's just go out and get something to eat and spend money. So I'm trying to make sure we've got shelves, we've got meals available that we can just use in those instances, you know. And then if you're ill or if you just can't be bothered or whatever, we've got them there just ready to pull down. So that's why I'm starting to use these jars and start with the pressure canner. But what I want to do is, a lot of people have expressed an interest in the different forms of pressure canning. So we are based in England, in the UK, as many of you know, and it's becoming a little bit more of a thing. Pressure canning is not a big thing here, and this is pressure canning jars within a pressure canner that you then put under a certain amount of pressure to be able to put them on your shelves, to make them shelf stable effectively. I don't want to get technical, that's why I'm kind of just trying to do a very high level overview. I will do some separate videos on the how-tos of it, because a lot of people have expressed an interest, as I say, and would like to know more. But today I really just need to get through this week. Every day this week I've got a bit of a challenge going on to see how quickly I can get what I've got in my freezers canned and on the shelves, because on Thursday our pigs are going in and we will be getting them back to butcher a week on Saturday, I think it is. And we need to make space in the freezers basically, because they will be most of it will be going in the freezers, some of it will be going on the shelves in the pressure canned form, but the majority will go in the freezer initially. So my goal this week is to get as many of these meals done from the freezer contents and on the shelf, and then once I'm done there, I can collect your comments throughout the week and feed all of those into a how-to video. So I thought we could have a double purpose to the videos. So anyway, I'm in here just literally, I've got the jars washed, I've got the canner filled up with enough water to get started. I'm using the big Presto 23 quart, so just under 23 litres of canner, Presto canner that is. And so I'm going to get started. The recipe that I'm doing today is a beef and sweet potato stew. I'm replacing the beef with lamb because that's what we've got. If I get to it, I've got a duck recipe and also a turkey recipe that I want to get to, and then I need to get even more out of the freezer. So I'm going to take you along some of the process. As I say, leave any pressure canning questions that you've got, please, as many as you can. I love the interaction, but also it'll really help me form some of the videos that I've got coming up. I've already got kind of a thing written out on how I'm going to do that, but I'd love your input to help me, you know, to help and guide those. I also want to go out foraging, because the bramble jam, did you see the YouTube short that I made? Oh my goodness, it is delicious and it is the perfect consistency. So that's just a foraged brambles. The only thing it cost me was my time and a little bit of sugar, and then the electricity or the gas if you want to go down that route, but that is amazing. So I've got other things that I want to make from a foraged point of view as well, so it's going to be a week of making as many things as we can. But today we'll get out and get some more brambles foraged. Stephen is super busy doing, he's got the final roof work to do on the bar area, the kitchen area outside that we've got. He's also helping a neighbour, and as a thank you for the neighbour coming back and helping Steve, I'm going to do some breakfast at some point as well. It's just going to be a pretty chilled out day. We'll see how we get on. Now, I find the most time consuming part is just getting all of the ingredients prepped. So I'm going to work on having everything ready. Most of it's here except for the meat and a couple of the herbs. It calls for dried thyme, but I'm just going to use fresh thyme, and that reminds me that I need to get a load more herbs dried. So I'm going to get everything prepped for now, and then we will get underway once it's all done. It takes a little bit of cooking down, just really quick, and then it all goes into the jars and into the pressure canner. Now, this recipe calls for tomato puree and beef stock. So what I've decided, if you saw one of my recent videos where I was doing the tomato ketchup, I was left with a load of tomato juice. That's sitting happily in the fridge. It's only a couple of days later. So what I'm going to do is it calls for 1.4 litres, I think it is, of beef stock. I'm going to replace of that, put my teeth in, but I'm going to replace some of the water with the tomato juice is what I'm trying to say, and I think that'll be super tasty. I need to remind myself that this recipe calls for that. That I've done this recipe with that. So if it's really, really tasty, I want to repeat that again next year. And it'll be a good thing that if this is something that we can do every year where I've got excess tomato juice, I can just use it in canning. If this recipe turns out to be a really nice one, we'll have lamb every year. So it'll just be rinse and repeat. Really, really like that though. I can't wait to get these on the shelves. Right, I've got all of my veggies prepared. So we've got garlic, sweet potatoes, onions. These are my peelings, which will go into the compost. There's mushrooms and carrots in here. And then I've got the herbs and things. But what I'm going to do first is brown the mince off and then add this liquid. So there's a litre in here of, this has got OXO cubes, some of the tomato paste to make it up to 1 litre. I still need another 400ml. Tomato paste and red wine is all in here. In fact, I'll need to make it up to just over 1.5 litres because the red wine's in there as well. So I'm going to start browning the meat off first. Because there won't be enough cans or jars rather to fill the canner, what I'm doing is using a trick that I saw on a channel called Don't Crop Me Now, and she basically uses these 500ml jars, puts 100 grams of dried beans in. I've washed these beans and rinsed them, and then fills it up with water. I'm going to use a chicken broth that I've got, and if I had any more of that tomato juice, I would have used that, but rather than just using water when I've got chicken broth, I've got that heating over on the stove. So I'm going to do spare jars full of beans to fill up the canner, because there should only be 8 jars of the stew that I'm making. So I'm going to get 100 grams in each of these for now. Talk about living on the edge. So this is just slowly coming to a boil. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes. This is the stock that I've got heating. This was just in the fridge in the house, so I'll give this a few minutes. I'm going to get the canner on ready to fill up, and then I'll show you once it's all in the canner and then when it's finished. Now I should say, even though this isn't a how-to video, the reason that I can do the beans as well as the stew in the canner at the same time is because they've both got the same processing time. There's different processing times for meats and vegetables and beans and things like that. Some of them are the same, but you need to make sure that you get the right processing time for the size jar and for the contents that are in it. Again, we'll do all a different video on the technicalities of it. These are going to be on for 75 minutes once the canner comes up to pressure. This is why Stephen says I'll make a mess. I will tidy this up as soon as the canner's on. I've got the beans in the jars at the back ready, and I've got some jars in the canner just warming up there, because you don't want to put the hot contents of the stew, which is hot in here. Look at the state of the pan from the flames. I need to figure that out because it's not burning very well. Anyway, different conversation. That's for the one over there. You can see it's yellow. Anyway, jars are warming up, and into the jars I'm going to put a little bit of fresh thyme and half a bay leaf in each, because I haven't put the thyme into the stew. I'm just going to pop it in the jars because it's going to go through the processing anyway, and then I will show you once it's done, because this is the first time that I've done pressure canning in the big pot in quite a while, and I know that when people are doing it, they find it quite stressful. I need to remind myself, without doing it all on camera, you know, the process and the checks and everything. It's all in here, but you just need to make sure that I do it properly. So I will show you the end result once it's done. Then we'll go brambling, might spend a bit of time in the garden, we shall see. Well, Grace and I have found a fantastic patch of brambles. We come here every year and they're really good every year, but this year there's been some absolutely massive ones, as demonstrated by the lovely Grace. So we're going to get picking because we want to make this bramble wine. We are back, and what a huge haul we've got here. So it took us next to no time to get this, and what have we got? 2.3 kilos of brambles, which is going to be absolutely perfect to make the bramble wine. I can't remember how many it said I needed. Let's have a look. Right, so this is perfect for blackberry or elderberry wine, or a mix indeed. 2 kilos of the fruit. So we're going to need 1 kilo of caster sugar. Have I got caster sugar? I'll just grind up some granulated sugar, juice and zest of an orange, a lemon, and dried baker's yeast. I'll have to see if that's just the same as the wine yeast. But anyway, this is the recipe that I was looking at. I've also got John Wright's River Cottage recipe book as well, which I'll have a look in there. But for now, aren't they amazing? I'm so pleased with them. I'm going to get them in the fridge because brambles, with them being a soft fruit, they tend to go mouldy quite quickly. But these are beyond fresh, so they will be absolutely fine until tomorrow. Well, this is the final product. Everything's sealed, and interestingly, don't do as I say, not as I do. I've reused lids, as you can see, because this clearly isn't bacon and potato soup. So everything's sealed bar the one. So this is what a two-piece lid that hasn't sealed looks like, and I find that you get more fails with the two-piece lids than you do with the one piece. Now in our friends over the water in the States will not generally use these one-piece lids to pressure can, so this is the difference of what we do here in the UK at least. But anyway, we've got a whole load of beans, so you can use these in the likes of chili con carne or any of your stews and things like that, or even just on salads. And we have got a whole load of the lamb and potato sweet potato stew, which is all ready for the pantry shelves once that's cooled down, so I am absolutely thrilled with that. But for now, as you can see, I've got my winter coat on because it's got quite chilly today. But as you may remember, we had to open a bottle of Rioja for this recipe. So that can only mean one thing. It's not my usual tipple because I prefer a sweet red wine, but beggars can't be choosers, because throughout September, I won't be buying any more wine. Stop the bus, I know. Anyway, someone's going to have to finish the bottle that we started this morning though, because we can't have it going to waste. So there's the pressure can food. Stephen's been busy in the barn. I will show you that tomorrow because he's also been on the roof here and got the ridge tiles done and things like that, but we'll have a good catch up tomorrow. He's at work, so we're going to see what else we can get done while he's busy earning money in the paid job. I'll talk to you very soon, and if you feel like it, please leave us a comment below and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. It really helps. Bye for now.